Hello, my name is Eric Anderson. I'm doing this video for my YouTube channel that I'm gonna get up and running if I relatively soon. And today, well, I like to talk about a whole bunch of different stuff, and show people how to do things that I've done before in the past, and stuff that usually works for me. Like for instance, this next video is about these hard drives that I've been buying since, for like 13 years now. I've had the same hard drive, and although it is failing, I did essentially. It's weird. It's like a kind of like a rubber band. I like stretch the memory back out. But essentially, what you got to do is find out how big your hard drive is, and then it asks you like the parameters on there, what, you know, how many gigabytes it is or whatever bytes. I think it's bytes. So you got to do the calculations and all that stuff and find out how many bytes, like say a 500 gigabyte hard drive has. Okay, but anyways. I've had this hard drive for almost 14 years now. Bought it in 2007. I used the living crap out of it. I just literally abused it because it just, I'm sure I was running it hot all the time because it was like running all the time. And so anyways, about 2 years ago, it started acting real weird. When it showed the capacity, it would show, usually it seemed like it showed a blue line or something like that. And then one day it just showed a red line, and I was like, oh, okay. But it was still working. And of course, I don't just throw stuff out. So, I actually just kept using it. And one day it got corrupted and actually lost all my information. It wasn't working correctly. So what I did was, instead of like throwing it up against the wall like I wanted to do, or just throw it out, I set it aside and I said, you know what, I've heard cooler heads prevail. So I came back to it later and thought of it a different way, thought of different programs that I could use or whatever. And unfortunately, it didn't work with the program that the drive was, I should say the manufacturer that the drive was bought from. It was an older hard drive than was the program. So I wasn't the program when I opened up the program and tried to use it, like format that hard drive. It wouldn't even recognize it because it was so old. So anyways, I tried some different things, and I essentially went through, I believe it was Microsoft or HP that comes on the computer, like HP Support Assistant, or like Microsoft when you essentially back up your hard drive. And anyways, ended up looking and reading and finding that, wow, this hard drive for some reason has gotten really small. And it was like reading like, this was a 500 gigabyte hard drive, and it was reading like something like 43 gigabytes or something like that, like 1/10 of what it was, or something like that. And so anyways, I typed in, it seems like I typed in what size it was, and then there are supposedly at least a couple different types of formats for a hard drive. One of them is NTFS, I believe. And then there's another one. I'm not exactly sure about the second one, but So that's the thing I learned by doing, especially like newer hard drives. Uh, I eventually had to upgrade because I was running out of space. So I ended up buying like a 10 terabyte hard drive. And also the difference in format times. Like it seems like a 500 gigabyte hard drive takes about 2 hours if you do it the long way. If you do like say a 10 terabyte hard drive, then it seems like I've had mine go for as long as 17 hours just to format it. But there's different types of formats, well, different types of, I should say, companies. Uh, the super long format was with, I believe it was the Windows format, either Windows or, like I said, HP Support Assistant. And it took a really long time. But that hard drive happened to come with, it seemed like program, and I swear by them, WD, Western Digital hard drives. These people are great. I've had nothing but awesome products from them and help that worked. And they really appeared to know what they're talking about or what they're doing. But anyways, one of them was, I opened up that program, the WD program, and essentially did a format because I figured, oh, okay, it's a WD hard drive. I might as well format it with the WD program. And you don't have to do that, but it's an option that I thought about. And, I did that and did it almost immediately. And so far, from what I've tried, that I've never had any kind of corruption or anything like that. It seems like when I did a short format, my hard drive ended up getting corrupted for some reason because I don't know, for some reason it works better when it's formatted for a long period of time, seems like. But essentially what this video is about is I was using a WD hard drive, which is Western Digital. I was having problems with it. It was failing. And so anyways, and the adapter was kind of loose because like I said, I used the crap out of it. And you know what? This one was a relatively newer one. I've had a couple problems with a couple of them, but I think it's because maybe I didn't format them correctly in the beginning. And I've done so much stuff on them. But anyways, essentially what happened was I had a lot of WD programs on that particular hard drive, and I would click on them to open up the hard drive. And so anyways, I went to copy some, I went to either open that up one time or copy something to it, and it essentially got corrupted and or dropped the information, wouldn't do it. It acted like it was going to do it, or it was doing it, and then I go into the hard drive and the information's not there. So I'm like, what the heck? So I ended up calling up WD, and the technician said, oh, try this, this. And he said, almost immediately, he said, well, do you have that thing hooked up to a surge protector? And I'm like, well, yeah. And he's like, don't do that. And I'm like, well, I always thought that, when you buy components, everybody tries to push that they have to be connected to a surge protector or whatever. And apparently that's not a good thing when it comes to hard drives, because for some reason it doesn't give the full amount of power to it, and it'll corrupt your information essentially if it's not directly if the adapter is not directly hooked into a wall. So just to let you know, just some of the things I had and problems I've had. And sure as you know what, I hooked it right into a wall socket, and the thing has worked ever since. So if you're having problems like that, it could be as simple as if it's not hooked directly to a wall socket. So just keep that in mind. And I'm gonna have some other videos coming up pretty quick, hopefully about hard drives and whatnot. And sorry, that's someone's dog. But I got a lot of ideas I'm gonna throw out there. So if you will, just leave some comments if you want, and try to help out or whatever you have to say. And give me a thumbs up if you can, and subscribe to my channel if you can. And more videos will be on the way, and better quality too, because my background is not the greatest. I realize that. I'm gonna work on that. Thanks a lot. Hope to see you soon.